This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC, hailing from Louisville, Kentucky. My new friend, Rachel Zabonick, who is the editor-in-chief of Club Solutions, Peake Media, the providers of five strong publications that are going to make you smarter and better. Rachel, welcome to Halo Talks.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. So why don't you first give your background on yourself and then background on the company, and then we'll talk about all the reasons for being a part of your network, whether that's on the on the publication side or also some of the leadership summits, and how you're an important part of the puzzle to making sure this industry continues to grow and proliferate.
Yeah, happy to. So I graduated from Ohio University in 2011 with a degree in magazine journalism. And after that, I got an internship at USA Ultimate, which is the governing body of Ultimate Frisbee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I worked there for a few months and lived in Boulder, Colorado.
Did you play Ultimate?
I didn't play.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm
not athletic enough for that.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
I wish. But yeah,
I used to play night Frisbee.
Okay.
Where we had like the glow-in-the-dark Frisbees,
Okay.
and you play like night Ultimate, and it was tackle at the time, so it wasn't the safest thing to do, but I did it.
Yeah. Well, that was a really great opportunity. I got to work on a magazine for them and do some articles and learned a lot about, just how a magazine operates.
Yep.
And then after that, I, was looking for a full-time position, saw that there was an opening as an assistant editor at Club Solutions magazine. And it was funny because I didn't feel like I was qualified, but I went ahead and applied anyway.
I think you're overqualified. I don't even know you.
But I went ahead and applied and got
Awesome.
the position, and I've been working my way up ever since. I was
Mazel tov.
named editor of Club Solutions magazine, and then a few years ago, editor-in-chief of Peake Media, which is the parent company to Club Solutions magazine. And yeah, our mission is to educate and empower fitness professionals in a variety of niches. In addition to Club, we also have Box Pro, which is for CrossFit affiliates. We've got Mindful Studio, which is for yoga studio owners. We've got Campus Rec for Campus Rec professionals. And then our newest publication is Community Rec magazine, which is for the nonprofit community recreation space, including YMCAs and JCCs.
Got it. Is this all a monthly publication on each one?
Club is the only monthly. The others are bi-monthly, so every other month.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I always mess up bi-weekly and bi-monthly, but I think I'm getting better now. I mean, at 46, I think I figured it out. So let's talk about Club Solutions, how long it's been around, what you get out of it as, being creative, innovative, saying like, hey, this is worthy of a story, or
Yeah.
hey, this might be something that I've heard about before that didn't work. So, in a sense, as the editor-in-chief, you're kind of somewhat of like a tastemaker, but you also want to be ubiquitous, and you want to say like, all right, I want to give the freedom of press, democratized, if you will. So talk about how you kind of toggle between the two, and like what your passion is and where you see things that you say like, not only do I think that's a cool product, but I actually want to write about it because it gets me excited.
Yeah, well, I think what makes Club Solutions magazine really stand out in the industry against some of maybe the other publications is that we really lean on our readers as the experts. Like, we don't necessarily consider ourselves to be experts.
Okay.
So I really lean on the connections, our advisory board, the connections I've made over the last 7 years to kind of tell us what they're seeing and what they're doing really well. And then the publication is truly a reflection of that. So I don't know if that's kind of...
Yeah, no, I think that's right. The one thing, as I mentioned, I'm 46 years old, and I really like to pick up a magazine. I like to pick up a newspaper, and I'm like so sick of like scrolling through my phone. I think I'm going to get like thumb arthritis or something. Both of my thumbs are going to fall off from just scrolling in my eyesight. So, from Club Solutions, when you're doing a monthly publication, and like everyone's like so real time with articles, how do you continue to stay like authentic, if you will, and say like, look, you're gonna wait till the end of the month, and this news is still newsworthy?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We just did a reader survey, and the majority of our audience prefers print.
Yeah,
so it's still extremely valuable, and it's there. I've read some research recently that's found that people who read things in print actually retain it better. Mm-hmm. So but people still really like it.
The one thing I also like about print is that I don't need a password to get into it. It's because I'm like password 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like I hate the forget password button all the time. It's kind of annoying. So what are some of the things that you're seeing either at the show here or that you've come across, or you're like, I've looked at this before, or like enough people are talking about this where I know like there's about to be a tidal wave, and you're kind of seeing it and writing it about it firsthand. And I'll tell you a story after that. But like, how do you get conviction about something and say like, hey, I want to be the one to write about this because I know it's going to be big, and I want to be able to kind of say like, yeah, I told you so.
Yeah. Well, I was actually just talking to Mary Frank, who works for Cincinnati Sports Club, and we were talking about facial recognition technology, and I'm definitely hearing a lot more about that.
Okay.
And they're using it in a lot of unique ways. For example, they can they can use payroll through it. So if you have an instructor who's working at your club and they get paid, for having 15 people, and then they get paid for going beyond that head count, that facial recognition technology actually automates the process for them. I know active
for the members that are coming in, you're saying, or for okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and so I know Newtown Athletic Club is doing that as well. Active
is it
Wellness.
cost effective for a club to put in a system like that?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay,
but I definitely am seeing a lot more club operators pursuing facial recognition technology for a variety of reasons.
I did manual facial recognition the other day. I just went up and I put my face against a glass door, and the woman recognized me and she let me in. So I'm still trying to go manual and go on print. So what spawned Peake Media to go and basically try and segment further and almost, I don't know if nichetize, but like create incremental niches when, you could have said, okay, look, we're just going to kind of expand club solutions. Do you feel like when you're speaking directly to like a tight audience, like it resonates more if you're kind of
I think
really
the content,
focus on them?
Yeah, the content's a lot better because you can really narrow in on specific areas of interest and need. So that's kind of one of the reasons that we wanted to do that.
So what are you seeing from, now you want to just go through all the publications real quick?
Yeah.
So you got Box Pro, which is going to the CrossFit market. You've got Mindful, which is going, Mindful?
Yoga Studio. It's Mindful Studio magazine.
Mindful
and it's for
Studio,
yoga studio owners and operators.
And then what's the other one?
A Campus Rec, which is for campus recreation professionals. And then our newest is Community Rec magazine, which is for nonprofit community recreation, including YMCAs and JCCs.
And is this all trade-based revenue, and then it's a free news that goes out?
Yeah, we're supported by advertisers, and then it's free to the consumer.
Got it. And then do you just basically, when somebody opens up one of these type of operations, do you automatically add them to your list and drop ship them a buck?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's about as good as it's going to get, right?
Yeah.
And then what kind of feedback do you get? Do you put everything up online? Is it searchable?
Yeah.
Is there collaboration between all the different groups that are, different editors? Do you all kind of get together and be like, hey, I had the same, there's a trend, or like facial recognition, like, and then kind of get like a piece of, maybe get a broader lens of what you're saying, like, okay, this is happening here, and here's something that's going to probably become big, and it might take a couple of years to get to market.
Yeah, we definitely do that a lot. Box Pro and Mindful Studio are probably the closest in industries. They've got very similar audiences, and that a lot of them are super passionate fitness professionals that wanted to open up health clubs.
Right.
So a lot of CrossFitters end up opening gyms because they just really love CrossFit.
Right.
Same with yoga. A lot of yoga professionals, they just love yoga. And so those audiences have definitely unique challenges where they need a little bit more help on the business side of things.
Gotcha.
And then Campus Rec and community recreation, because they're both nonprofit, those are definitely two of the very similar industries as well.
Gotcha. I always find it interesting to take a step back and actually read trade magazines from different industries.
Yeah.
In order to see like what's going on, because sometimes we get like so enamored with like what's going on in our little box that we don't really realize that we're in the consumer services. So you should be really reading about like what are hotels doing, what are airlines doing, what are restaurants doing, because a lot of these groups have a lot bigger budgets and are probably on the front end of something. But you can make all the analogies that there's no reason why. I passed by this awesome Audi dealership the other day when I was in Orlando, and I was like, man, that could be like the most beautiful Gold's Gym I've ever seen. It's got 500 parking spots. They happen to own all the cars. Yeah. And it's just beautiful glass and lighting, and I was like, wow, this is like, that's what the future should look like.
Yeah.
And then, so how do you kind of cross-pollinate certain articles between the different publications, and what's the communication like internally?
Yeah, so we definitely do that sometimes. And then in that case, one of the editors would just say, hey, this is an article that might be really good for your audience, and you're free to take it and tweak it so that it's, perfectly matches the audience, and go from there. I mean, we work really well together. There's not, any like negative competition or anything like that. So it works really well.
And if someone wants to get into this profession, on your end, like loves the industry and says, okay, I'm in, journalism, and who's part of the company right now? How do you recruit? Do you use like any kind of like independent reps or independent, I don't know, what would you call them? Freelance writers, I guess would be the right terminology.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, and how do you find interesting people to say like, hey, why don't you either write an article for us or maybe come work for us? How does that process work?
We're actually a really small company. We only have 15 employees right now, and our editorial staff we've only got 5 writers, including me.
Okay.
For all 5 publications.
Oh, wow.
So we collaborate a lot. But yeah, if anyone's...
Do you have a pen name?
A pen name? Just Rachel Zabonick.
Oh, okay. Because you're like, you write all the articles. You could be like, different versions of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I am engaged, so eventually my name will change. But I think for writing, I will keep it as Rachel Zabonick.
Well, maybe try both of them and just test it out. Maybe give him. When are you getting married?
There's no set date yet.
All right, so we won't be able to look out for you in like the September issue at this point under the new name.
His last name is Chonko, though. So
Chonko?
I don't know if Rachel Zabonick Chonko would be the most...
It might be a little too much of a tongue twister.
Yeah, that might be too much.
I mean, when I read, I'm actually like talking to myself, so it might be a little much.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jay, we'll leave that as an open-ended, follow-up question, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, one of the things you're doing, obviously, is educating people, but you're also trying to make sure that they get better at what they're doing. So talk a little bit about this leadership summit that you all put together, and what the agenda is and itinerary for something like that.
Yeah, so a few years ago, we launched the Leadership Summit at the Kentucky Derby, and it's for the top 25 health club operators in the U.S., and it's roundtable based. So we do roundtables in the morning, and then we take them to the Kentucky Oaks on Friday, and then the Kentucky Derby on Saturday.
Nice.
And
do they get a hat with that, or you bring your own?
You bring your own hat.
BYOH.
Yes.
Bring your own hat to the Kentucky Derby.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
And we've got a lot of really positive feedback from that event. We also do a leadership retreat in September, which is similar format, and then it's roundtable based. And Blair McHaney's our moderator for both events.
MXM, Wenatchee, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Home of the apple. I believe home of the red apple.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, we don't feel like we're the experts, so we didn't want to set it up where we're necessarily talking to them.
Right.
We wanted our attendees to be learning from each other and exchanging best practices and ideas. So that's really the format of our events and how we found the most success.
Gotcha. And do you guys? You said you're usually on the other side of these podcasts. Or do you do a podcast channel as well, or do you interview people for articles?
We don't for Club Solutions, but for Box Pro, we've had a pretty successful podcast for the CrossFit industry. It's called Box Talk, and the editor of that publication, Heather Hartman, she does it, and it's been really well received.
Got it.
Yeah, and then we're looking at possibly doing one for Club Solutions magazine in the near future.
All right, cool. I'd love to be on your show.
Okay, yeah.
If it's regardless of what your last name is, I'll come on the show. So just talk about like what you see in the market. What do you hear back from people on the leadership side? Are you getting a sense that like there's too much competition? Are you getting a sense of like, if we execute, like we're going to be successful? Mm-hmm. What's like the pulse of the industry? Because you got an interesting position in it.
Yeah, well, you're definitely seeing a lot of success with the boutique market right now. So like Orange Theory Fitness, Soul Cycle, and then the low end or low cost big box models are doing really well. But, a lot of operators are actually embracing the competition. They feel like a rising tide lifts all boats. Mm-hmm. And I was just talking to Joanna Maslowski from Wellbridge, and, they're just looking at it as an opportunity to see what consumers are really liking and how they can take some of those elements and incorporate them into their facilities. So, even though the market's definitely becoming increasingly competitive, there's a lot you can learn from those clubs that are doing really well.
Sure. And on your side of the Women in Fitness Association, mm-hmm. and I know you're an executive member. of that. Talk about what how that's grown. That's only been a couple of years, I believe.
Yeah. Lindsay Rainwater.
We met with her last year.
Yeah, she founded that.
How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, really well. I mean, I'm not super involved with that, so I can't speak too much to it. But I mean, I think it's a great organization, and it's definitely needed. I think that they're doing a really great thing.
Excellent. What if people want to join that? Is there an application process? Is that
yeah, you can
more
actually
like
just
you join like IHRSA?
Yeah, you can just join right online.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I believe it's $199, but yeah, maybe don't quote me on that one.
Okay, no worries. So where do you see Club Solutions going forward? Are you trying to add more articles? Are you trying to add more leadership series? Are you trying to continue to do what you do and kind of stay in your lane, or give us a little flavor for what the future and what we should expect?
Yeah, well, we're definitely seeing a lot of success with our events. So we're maybe toying with the idea of doing a third leadership retreat in the future.
Okay.
But yeah, besides that, I mean, we're just still super excited to have a print publication and be talking to all the club operators out there and sharing best practices.
That sounds great. Well, thanks for your work. I look forward to reading more of your articles and being a tastemaker and trend reporter and setter.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can be a part of your leadership series, and I'll get Nikki and David to get become an advertiser as well, and maybe get the Halo Talks logo into your monthly, so we can get that out to more and more people.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great meeting you, and congrats on the engagement. And
thank you, Pete.
Look forward to reading the publication.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It was great being here.
You got it. Likewise.